Fulham off of their seasons as silver lining. Arsenal, Spurs and West Ham are out. Why ever not? Fulham got a glimpse of a Wembley final just 3 nights ago. Defeat to Liverpool clearly took a toll because Marco Silva has freshened up with 7 changes. Tim Ream plays for the first time in almost 2 months. Sasa Lukic and Rodrigo Muniz both start. The likes of Tosin, Palhinha, Jimenez and Willian are on the bench. Newcastle United were beaten Carabao Cup finalists last year. They've gone out of that competition and the Champions League in the last 6 weeks. But they've had a clear fortnight to prepare for this one. They're without Miguel Almiron, who's ill, but Jacob Murphy is fit to play for the first time in nearly 3 months. That's the one change from the side that pushed Manchester City to the very end 2 weeks ago. Jared Gillard is in charge of one club that hasn't won a major trophy for 55 years, the other that's never won one. Lee Dixon, who's won 8, and FA Cup triumph this year is not beyond Fulham or Newcastle, and it's a memory they'd never forget.
No, absolutely, and it's a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you. Fulham's team with 7 changes. I thought Marco Silva might keep a few in from midweek. They was very, very good in the second half against Liverpool. As far as Newcastle are concerned, as full strength as he can be, and Eddie Howe certainly letting everybody know what he thinks about the FA Cup. A big run for them is perfect for their season, failing to, by the look of it, get into Europe again.
Immediately on the attack with Longstaff, and it's immediately a skirmish. A lack of competitive spirit out there. It has become a cup of giants rather than giant killers. In the last 30 years, only 4 of the FA Cup's winners have finished outside the top 6 of the Premier League. This is 13th versus 10th. In truth, a pretty unremarkable top-flight matchup, but for a place in the last 16 of the Cup and a shot at the top prize, it takes on an added relish. And more than 3,000 have made the long trip from Tyneside to be a part of it.
Well, I can tell you, Clive, when it gets to 4th round, 5th round, the players start to sit up and take notice. You want to play in these games and get to the next round. There's not a lot of teams left in it.
Wilson against Byrne will be a game within the game, and Byrne has had the first triumph. This is Lukic, Tete, Harrison Reed. And the 4 survivors from that starting 11 just 3 nights ago. Diop, Robinson, De Cordova-Reid and Pereira. Byrne with the header away, once of this parish. Lukic controls at the second time of asking. Haven't seen a great deal of Sasa Lukic since his deadline signing a year ago. Never really established himself in the Fulham team, but he did start the season in the team, and only a knee injury cost him his place back in August. The flick is clever from Wilson. Reed was mobile. It'll come from Muniz. Well, there's an opportunity here for Rodrigo Muniz, because I think it's clear Raul Jimenez is not going to play every game for Fulham.
No, absolutely. It's great movement from Reed and Wilson, and that's going to be a link-up. Wilson on this right-hand side and Reed just helping him out. Both busy players. Great little flick inside, and he's going to be pivotal whether Fulham advance up front. Not a great team of goal scorers.
Goal scoring is an issue for Fulham just now. Only 6 in the last 9 games. After a scoring binge at the start of last month, it was a rather dry December and January after that. Pereira running into traffic. De Cordova-Reid winning it back from Trippier. Miley winning it back from him. Certainly an edge about the opening exchanges.
Feisty, isn't it? And a Fulham are half as good as they were against Liverpool in the second half. Newcastle in a bit of bother because they were absolutely superb. Every part of their game, they're closing down, their energy, the high press. They really put Liverpool under the cosh towards the end of that game. Wasn't quite enough.
Rice. No foul. Pereira won the ball back, got it back from Muniz. Almost came from Muniz once again. Burns stretched out a long leg. And now Anthony Gordon can stretch his legs, and he's got two for support here, Gordon. And one of them is Isak, who looked a touch offside to me. Still Alexander Isak. Squeezed in towards Murphy, wouldn't quite come from Miley. Fulham clear their lines.
Yeah, I got a feeling that...
Oh, mistake! Robinson, big chance for Jacob Murphy on his return to the team, and it caught him by surprise too.
Caught me by surprise. Just giving the ball away on the edge of the box. I thought the flag was going to go up when Isak made the run, and then it all calmed down, and then that pass there, it's on his wrong foot. He didn't want it there for certain. Robinson and Murphy with a glorious chance. Too close, straight at the keeper, either side, and he's scored a goal.
First game since November the 4th for Jacob Murphy, following two dislocations of his left shoulder in the space of 10 days back in October, November. It needed some surgery to correct that problem. Gordon's won a free kick.
Yeah, that initial move, that break from Gordon down this left-hand side, all came with the Tete playing the cat and mouse. I'm going to go forward, are you going to follow me? And Gordon just said, do you know what, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm just going to stay in my left wing position. If you win the ball back, you're in trouble, and that's exactly what happened.
Shed. Murphy unable to help it on. He needs involved in these opening attacks for Fulham. Pereira. Robinson making one of his bursts forward. He's quick, but not quite that quick.
No, he's picked up a nice few positions, Pereira, in the first few minutes. He's been on the left side, picking it up in a 10, dropping into midfield, just trying to stretch the Newcastle back line.
Miley. And Rice. Trippier unable to find a way out of that corner. Neither side has any form to commend them. Each has won just 2 of their last 9 games. But you know, Fulham have played Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool twice in that last crowded month. They actually beat Arsenal here. Got very close to a Wembley final. Newcastle were moments away from a Carabao Cup semi-final just before Christmas. That's nearby Chelsea. They led Manchester City with 20 minutes to go last time out. They were drawing at Liverpool with 20 to go. 1 or 2 rather perilous touches in the penalty areas by defenders, offering the best opening so far.
It's an half make for exciting football, this playing out from the back lark, doesn't it?
And 6 weeks ago, Newcastle did beat Fulham 3-0 at St James's Park. To Grafka back to Botman. I'm not sure he wanted it. I'm not sure that Newcastle United want to be conceding corners quite so sympathetically.
Well, they're both playing the game, playing it out from the back, but they're both a bit sloppy at the moment. As I said, giving the ball away right into the heart of their defence. It's proving exciting.
Diop and Ream are amongst those in the crowded penalty area. The 2 centre-backs. Wilson, Reed. Work back to Pereira. He's found a low cross, and it's Isak who's back there helping out. Fulham did play 3/4 of that Premier League defeat at Newcastle with 10 men after Raul Jimenez was red carded. Marco Silva had a right old rant at the referee, and the goals didn't start coming until well into the second half. And it is Newcastle's only win over top flight opposition since December the 2nd. Diop. Tete. And Slovakia's numbers 1 and 2 goalkeepers on duty tonight. Marek Rodak, who's the understudy to Newcastle's Martin Dubravka in the international team that will take part in the European finals this coming summer. De Cordova-Reid. Kind of rather frustrated figure on Wednesday. Was substituted midway through the second half. Lukic, who was a regular for Serbia at the last World Cup. He is an experienced player, if not a particularly familiar one to the Fulham players and fans, players too probably. Trippier. Miley. There's an eagerness about the pressing all over the field, and it's forcing 1 or 2 risky passes.
That's probably why Marco Silva made 7 changes, because that press against Liverpool was ferocious at times. That takes its toll. New fresh 7 legs on the pitch.
Yeah, he talked a lot about emotion after Wednesday's semi-final. Felt his players were too emotional at the start, too focused on the occasion rather than the match. And then he was worried after the match what defeat had taken out of them emotionally. Reid getting stuck in on Gordon. But he does want more emotional nights here at Fulham, more shots at glory. You've got to give a lot to get a lot at this level. Trippier looking for Murphy, finding only Reid. Gordon heading in the wrong direction. Tete stole it from him. This is Harry Wilson. Gordon atoning for his error. It's not quite what Reid had in mind, but it will do. Lukic. That's disappointing.
They play some nice stuff at times, Fulham, but you just always get that feeling of what's next. What's going to happen in the last third? Where's your ball into the box? Where's your little bit of delicate stuff around the box? It's just one thing that they've struggled at, getting the ball in the net since obviously their talisman left.
Alexander Mitrovic has been scoring freely in Saudi Arabia, but he is part of Fulham's history now.
I think you might get a few goals in Saudi Arabia, Clive, to be fair. It's not the best league in the world, is it?
Best paid. Muniz onside. De Cordova-Reid. Rice had no time, but he managed to smuggle it into the path of Burner. Now Gordon. Longstaff. Isak. Stepping away from Diop. Burn at his shoulder. Corner kick for Newcastle United.
Well, any youngsters watching, this is how to have the half turn. Isak's turn was absolutely brilliant. Just has a little look over his shoulder to make sure there's no one right behind him, and that just enables him to let the ball run there, and then he's away. Squares up the defender and just creates that bit of space for himself. Brilliant play.
And 5 goals in his last 4 games, and that's the currency of forward play. Trippier. It's into a dangerous area, smuggled away. Cher was the Newcastle player closest to making contact. Anthony Gordon makes contact. Well, Rodak had that one covered. He was a little more alarmed with what was happening in front of him after Trippier's cross.
Yeah, that cross from Trippier is a real hazard. And Gordon just getting a yard of space at getting his shot away. Always looked like he was going to drag it, but this is the cross from Trippier. And it's just a goalkeeper's nightmare. He just sticks his hand out. He's not sure where the ball's going. He's waiting for it to hit somebody. And in the end, it's an absolutely reaction save. But that stopped a goal. I didn't realise it was going in that quick.
Played in the 3rd round against Rotherham, 4 cup ties and 1 international this season. Marek Rodak, the life of the understudy goalkeeper. Big challenge by Botman on Reed. There's a few of those out there.
Yeah, it's a good cup tie, isn't it?
The FA Cup is all about tradition, and that is a Newcastle tradition. Winter, spring or fall.
Minus the belly.
Good work by Muniz. Tete. Didn't quite sort it out. Cher tried to help it on its way, and it just hit Trippier. It could have gone anywhere, really.
Well, there we go. Great ball. Really good ball from Tete in the box, and never looked like a threat from Fulham.
Lukic. Just beyond Reed. Dan Burn actually made his Premier League debut as a Fulham player 10 years ago. He played alongside Tim Ream in some games. Came down here from his native northeast, from the conference side then, Darlington, as a teenager. Didn't really make his breakthrough here. He was released eventually. Released to Wigan Athletic. He's found his way home. Here's Wilson against Burn. Jabbed into Muniz! That's a decent save, that. Didn't have a lot of pace on it, but it was a long way down for Martin Dubravka, and he did well to get a hand to it.
Really good from Wilson. And he just runs that. As soon as he gets in that position, it's difficult for the defender to get anything on him, but don't sometimes have to hit him that hard. If you hit him in the corner, absolute fingertip save from Dubravka. Really good.
Hasn't scored against top flight opposition yet, Rodrigo Muniz. Pereira and towards Diop, who was at the front of the queue, but mistimed the header. It did come last off a Newcastle head. It's another corner. Some big units in there. Isak helping out again inside his own penalty area, but everybody back to their positions. Pereira working the in-swinger, and Isak is there on sentry duty again. Pereira's cross more telling this time. Burn had to deal with it. It's come for Guimaraes. Chance for Isak to break out. It's all to his right. Not behind him. Tete. Wilson. Lifted into De Cordova-Reid, but there's always a stretch.
Yeah, it was a good ball out. Good run forward. Out to in. And Wilson saw him just a little bit too much on it, but he's the one for Fulham. Wilson, he's had a lot of the ball in good positions.
Made a real impact here as a substitute in the last 25 minutes on Wednesday. Set up the goal, forced a good save from Caoimhin Kelleher. Been involved in every game this season.
that easy to mark because he doesn't play in a standard position. He kind of wanders around 2 or 3 positions. And so he's always going in and out of different players' territories, and they're saying, are you marking him, I'm marking him. All of a sudden he finds himself in 5 yards, and that's all he needs.
And left-footed from the right, he works well with an overlapping fullback, and Tete will get forward. This is Guimaraes. Miley is on here. He'll reach it. Headers by Reed.
Didn't look very mobile then, Lukic. Like he was towing a caravan, tracking back there.
Murphy just lost his footing of his own accord. Pereira searching for Muniz now as he tripped deliberately by Cher. Yellow card suggests that he was, in the opinion of Jared Gillett.
He just runs across the line, he gets ahead of Cher, and he kind of knows what he's doing. He's pleading his innocence, but he knows if he runs across the back of him, there's a likelihood is he'll clip him.
The referee's not from these parts, he hails from Queensland, 10,000 miles away. Just past 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow now, but no doubt there'll be people watching the FA Cup. Good day. He's got VAR tonight. There was no VAR here for the semi-final on Wednesday. Left footer Wilson or right footer Pereira.
Good position, really high line from Newcastle. Dubravka's got him pushed right on the edge of the box. I expect him to come for anything around the penalty spot.
It's the left foot of Wilson. Oh! It was into an area, a corridor they couldn't defend. They've still got to defend it, and it's turned away by Botman. Now, half a dozen players who try to get on the end of what was a delicious free kick.
Yeah, again, left foot straight into that corridor. So difficult to defend, and then the next little ball gets nodded down into number 9 position, and again, no one there for Fulham.
Yeah, to reiterate the point you're making, Lee, the 3 players who got close to contact were all Newcastle players. Reed's offside here. Nobody had the instinct to gamble on the excellence of the delivery.
Dan Burn it was, getting a little bit of a left foot on it. Probably wasn't going to go to anyone at the far post, because Fulham just seemed to lack the intent to get into that number 9 spot and almost goal hang. You'll hear all the best centre forwards saying they get most of their goals from straight in the middle of standing in front of them. It's not a coincidence.
Lukic. It'll come for Muniz, and now Tete. It's not his best. Miley away. Pereira. Well seen by Diop. Robinson. Fulham pressure building. It's a pretty straightforward take from Martin Dubravka. Isak. Gordon. Burn is striding forward. And he needs about 4 of his strides to get into the Fulham half.
Yeah, you think about the crossing coming in from the side, it's got to be whipped in, it's got to be in a dangerous position. If you just lift them up, we've got so many giants at the back, Newcastle. It's food and drink, and a goalkeeper that, you know, can just pluck things out of the air. So it's got to have a bit of quality on.
Cher has found the chest of Isak. Beyond Guimaraes to Burn. Gordon. Now Bruno Guimaraes. Cher to Trippier, working the ball one way and then the other, trying to stretch the Fulham cover. Gordon waits, but it was a rather ballooned cross by Kieran Trippier, whose crosses are usually much better than that.
Yeah, I know what he's trying to do. He's just trying to clip that with his laces. Just kind of ping it straight, and he's just could have crossed it a little bit, not too much at the bottom of the ball, it just balloons up in the air. I was an expert at that one.
Not everybody can do that.
The balloon cross.
There's the joy voices you can hear inside Craven Cottage. Tim Reed. Excellent for Wilson. Tete. There was a little nudge there by Gordon just to help Wilson out of the way. It's gone for a corner.
Again, good run from Wilson, just trying to get in that green grass behind the defenders, and there was a little lean in. He expected something to come. It didn't come, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he lost his balance as opposed to he dived to the ground.
Meant for De Cordova-Reid, and Cher saw it coming. Guimaraes was actually running free there if Fabian Cher could reach it, so it was just as well for Fulham than Anthony Robinson beat him to it.
That was all in from Robinson, because if he gets to that first, as you said, they're through Newcastle, and he knew it.
Isak had come short.
Been pretty poor, Newcastle, so far, haven't they?
They've actually scored 7 times in their last 3 games, but they've let in just as many. Yeah, they've been on the wrong side of the result in 8 of their last 10 matches now. Hard times. Those heady Champions League nights against PSG and Milan and Dortmund seem a long time ago. Burns always going to win those in the air. Fulham throw. Tete. Held back by Longstaff, but managed to shrug him off. Advantage play. Reed. Wilson. Nice turn. Pereira. Harrison Reed. Just teased him.
Yeah, shame. Shame, really good move again. Position of Wilson, the 8. Playing a 10, picking it up and turning, running at defences. You just have to drop off when that happens.
Lukic. Trying to play it in behind Botman for Muniz. And Burns' first attempt at the clearance wasn't the best, but he finds Longstaff at the second time of asking. And so does Wilson. The man who finally saw off Jurgen Klopp. 90 minutes on the same touchline as Marco Silva on Wednesday. Obviously pushed the Liverpool manager over the edge. And seriously, Jurgen's heartfelt words will have chimed with a man that coaches and manages in a similar gear, a man like Marco Silva. The intensity of the job is there to see through the big lens every day, every night. They pushed themselves and everybody around them. think what hasn't changed during the last couple of trying months is Eddie Howe's more measured management style. And I sometimes wonder if it works against him sometimes, the notion that nice guys never win. It's totally misguided in my opinion, but I think Gareth Southgate suffers from the same strange notion after an England defeat. Sometimes we hold their best qualities against them. Good pass from Byrne, that to Gordon. Good tackle though by Diop. Muniz, Wilson. Reed will scamper. Botman will win and win a free kick.
There's no need Gordon to get so close to Diop. He's quicker than him, even over a shorter space of grass, so just stay away from him, kick the ball past him and run after it. As soon as he gets within touching distance of Diop, Diop knows he's in his territory and he can put his foot in.
Trippier, early towards Murphy, well seen by Robinson. Half an hour gone. Ream first to the ball. Kept alive by Guimaraes. Down by Gordon. Miley running into Tete. Gordon's got it back. And then Lukic for Fulham. And then a free kick for Fulham. No real fluency about Newcastle as yet.
No, they've been disjointed. Not really linked many passes together. Isak's had a couple of runs early on and Gordon had one run and that's been about it.
Well, that's loose though from Reed. Longstaff. Murphy just couldn't quite feed it into Isak and Reed was able to make up for his error. Shot challenge by Guimaraes, and here's Isak, and he's away from Ream. Alexander Isak just went a bit too far. Flag has been raised to signify goal kick. Not offside.
Down from Guimaraes there, just wins it back, and then he supports, but Isak takes him on and whole defence on his own. He just gets it caught underneath his feet. Once he gets in this position, he just starts to lose his balance a little bit. The goalkeeper forcing him wide.
Muniz is certainly willing. A little raw. Only 22, the Brazilian.
Yeah, but it's good. He saw that the defender was in a spot of bother. The only place he can hit it is the place he was running into.
He had a little run in the team over Christmas, but most of his 40-odd appearances have been from the bench. Seems to be ahead of Carlos Vinicius in the pecking order here now.
Always makes me laugh when people describe players as willing runners. It's like, kind of is your job. You can't play football, you can. If you're Messi, you can stand and play football.
Here's Wilson. Robinson. De Cordova Reed. Muniz! There's a corner. Well, he's shown a little bit more than a willingness to run tonight.
Yeah, it's a good touch and it's an even better turn. I think it's Botman that gets something on it. He gets close. As soon as the turn comes, he knows he's got to get really tight to stop the shot. Just flicks off the inside of his leg.
Another Fulham corner. Pereira. A goal kick has been given. I'm not sure that either official, with a good view of that, saw enough of it to really know whether it was a goal kick or a corner. Yeah, it's not if you run, it's where you run, isn't it, as a striker in these situations?
Well, it should be. I've seen a few strikers that just don't run.
I didn't know you'd ever see me play. Here's Diop. given away to Guimaraes. Miley.
Is that breaking news? You were a striker.
In my dreams. It's mistimed by Byrne. The pass to him wasn't the best, and he's caught Wilson and set up another promising situation for Fulham.
Again, it's that snap from the press, and he gets there first, and Byrne has no choice but to throw his foot at the ball and hope he makes contact, and he didn't, and he looks hurt actually. He fell on that shoulder.
Still down and in pain. But you mentioned at kickoff, Lee, that you're a little disappointed with 7 changes for Fulham, but you can see why now, because they're energised, aren't they?
Yeah. But you know, it's that balance between making changes but also keeping your strong first 11 as close as you can, and 7 is stripping it right down. But obviously he's a manager, I'm not. I just comment on it when he decided, and he sees a lot in training as well, so you're making judgments from a distance, and he knows his players inside out, and certainly they've come out and been the better side, created the better chances, the closing down better, there's more energy of them. Can they last the pace? And you just feel if Newcastle were to get a breakaway and score, then they might struggle Fulham, because where's the goals going to come from?
Well, Jimenez and Willian are on the bench, so the substitutes bench is loaded. Wilson's okay. Pereira takes. Header away by Byrne. Pressure without reward can be very frustrating for a football team. And 10 minutes of a half to go. That Fulham have not dominated, have certainly been the better and more threatening team.
Well, you would think that Eddie Howe gets stuck into his side, because they're just benign at the moment.
Yeah,
Newcastle.
Wilson's shoulder's still not good.
That's a real shame. Just gets their first look, and then watch him fall, arm out. Doesn't look too bad actually when he hits the ground, but he's obviously feeling it.
And so is the physiotherapist, and it hurts. 2 more live 4th round ties on ITV tomorrow. Join us at 11 a.m. for the build-up to one of the tetchiest derbies in English football. West Bromwich Albion versus Wolverhampton Wanderers kicks off at 11:45. Then the Jurgen Klopp farewell tour begins at what's bound to be an emotional Anfield. We're there just before 2 for the tie with Norwich City. Both those games on ITV1 and STV tomorrow. Tonight on ITV4 and ITVX, all the day's highlights from a busy day in the English Football League at 9:20. The 5th round draw, incidentally, will be made during the show from Anfield tomorrow afternoon. Only 6 teams through to the 5th round as yet. It's Longstaff retrieving the ball, and Newcastle being invited to attack.
Yeah, it looks like Newcastle's best option is to force Fulham back 4 to give it away in their own box.
There are actually 24 teams left in the competition. 24 in the last 16. You know what I mean? Trippier. Headed down by Byrne. Fulham haven't dealt with it. Yeah. Hit first time by Longstaff and in. Now, there will be a review here, and there's a hint of handball in the midst of all that. But right now, Sean Longstaff has given Newcastle United the lead.
Yeah, I've got a feeling this will be disallowed. There was a little flick when it came into the box. The ball comes in from that right-hand side. A great cross from Trippier. Got a whip on it, and there's a little bit of confusion who's it going to, and it just flicked off the Guimaraes, I think it was. It just flicks off his hand and then bounces very kindly to Longstaff and he puts it in.
I mean, his arm is alongside his body. He doesn't travel very far, but this immediate involvement in the goal that results will certainly have Rob Jones at Stockley Park having a good long look at the contact with Guimaraes' arm. Otherwise, the left foot of Longstaff has split the two teams.
Well, I can't see how it can come off his hand and go straight to his teammate and he puts it in the net and it not have an effect. So we normally have VAR in our ears, but I can't hear it. Can you hear it, Clive? No?
No, I mean, it's a secret we're not supposed to share with you, but usually we can hear some of the ruminations at the VAR. But the goal has been given. Newcastle United lead. Sean Longstaff. 4 goals for the season. It's his best haul for Newcastle United. It's his first for 3 months. He's had some injuries in that time. But with his unfavoured left foot, that sweetly struck volley is the difference between the two teams. But Fulham will wonder why it's been allowed, given the immediate assist coming off the arm of Guimaraes.
I think it's probably got something to do with the fact that it wasn't the player who scored and it comes off your own hand. And
well, that is certainly the case. The revision has been towards the actual goal scorer's contact rather than the build-up to a goal. That is a fact.
But you could almost write the script. The way Fulham were going, it was almost like Newcastle are going to go the other end and score. And then you're looking at the game and going, how are Fulham going to get back into this game given their goal scoring record? So, and sure enough, and this is the actual confusion, and then the foot goes up, little flick, Guimaraes gets a full fist on it, Longstaff's not bothered, it just snaps at it, goalkeeper no chance. Referee and VAR decide that's okay.
Here's Byrne. Gordon. I think the first goal is always going to have a higher value in a match between two teams searching for a result. Others chased games well this season. Fulham have staged a couple of comebacks, notably coming from behind to beat Arsenal here on New Year's Eve, but they have lost 11 of the 15 games in which they conceded first.
Well, I'm a little bit old school, and it's not deliberate, and it's, to me, that's probably should be given, but in these days with the handball rule the way it is, the handball law the way it is, I have no clue anymore.
Well, it's not fit for purpose. It's that simple. It needs a complete revision, in my opinion. Miley. The one thing you would say about the way VAR does work is if the referee on the field doesn't give it, it's going to need something clear and obvious, whatever that means, for the VAR to direct him to the monitor. And on the field, Jared Gillett didn't see anything wrong.
I probably didn't see it because it was hard to see. We've got replays and cameras left, right and centre. I'm not sure the referee's position.
Tete, Wilson. Guimaraes. He's asked an awful lot, far too much of Isak, and it was a fairly straightforward pass on to Isak or Murphy.
He just tried to hit it the outside of his foot, right side of his laces, and didn't quite get it right.
A week which is sorely testing Fulham's resolve one way or another. And it's going to get worse in a minute because I don't think Harry Wilson can continue.
He's labouring with that arm almost strapped to his side. He can't run properly.
That's good for Muniz. Harrison Reed. Here is Wilson. Tete, not the searching ball. Muniz with a header, and Pereira couldn't quite catch up with it.
Well, Muniz tried to nod it down in that pathway for Pereira to run onto. Just look at the run. But again, just not enough bodies around the ball in the box in front of the goal for Fulham.
Even as we tick towards first half stoppage time, Fulham are going to make the change sooner rather than later. Willian is stripped off and ready to come on for Wilson. Meanwhile, Murphy's going clear, and there's no flag yet. It's Jacob Murphy, it's 2-0. Now the flag goes up. Now again, this will be checked. The assistant referee has done the right thing. He's waited. Murphy's certainly done the right thing and dispatched it into the corner, but then the linesman flagged and he looks well off.
Well, he looks well off, and the flag should have gone up. He's 4 yards offside. Just put your flag up now, straight away, and save all the bother.
Mark Scholes follow the protocol, and the decision is correct. No goal.
Yeah, the protocol's incorrect, though.
Willian then will replace Wilson.
Coming off number 8, Harry Wilson.
He's an FA Cup winner with Chelsea. Played in a couple of finals, but only as a late substitute. Won league titles, won the Copa America. Played in a World Cup in Brazil for Brazil. I don't suppose those FA Cups will necessarily live long in the memory of Willian. He's got quite a memory bank, but he's on. And before half-time, 35 years of age now.
He's a half-decent replacement, you have to say, and a big fan of his.
De Cordova-Reid come to this right-hand side. Willian will play from the left. Here is De Cordova-Reid. Muniz, good defending by Cher. Gordon hasn't managed to clear his lines. Reid smuggles it forward. This is Tete feeding off De Cordova-Reid. Tete's cross, and Willian waits, and almost his first touch. Could have been a goal, but for Kieran Trippier.
Well, I'm looking at Muniz, and I'm saying, where are you? And he's still on the edge of the box. And that, right there, that space there is where you should be. Any centre-forward worth his salt, why he's not there, I'll never know.
3 added minutes. Head away by Murphy, and then by Guimaraes. Byrne has landed awkwardly now. Tete made a back for him. Long way down when he Dan Byrne. Crash landing.
Ouch.
He's back on his feet, I'm glad to say, and we're back in motion. Pereira, nicely taken. Plenty of options here. He's carried it a long way and goes for goal himself. And he just ran out of puff.
Well, he did everything right. Great turn. The centre-back followed him, Cher, and he just turned him and he was away. But the ball's too central to get that sort of shot away. Look, it's right underneath his feet. It's catching.
Isak. Pereira. Ream forward. Might come for De Cordova-Reid. It's come off him. Might come for Muniz. But Trippier and Dubravka tidy up. And Newcastle take a lead into the break. Hard on Fulham, that. They've been the better side in the first half. Well struck volley by Sean Longstaff has given Newcastle the lead, but there's plenty to debate about that goal, and Fulham will feel aggrieved that it was allowed to stand when the assist came from the arm of Bruno Guimaraes. Though on the advice of VAR, Jarrod Gillett decided not to overturn it, and at the break it is Fulham 0, Newcastle United 1. They go away 9. Joe Strummer was worried about the way the world was going back then. He turned 50 last month. London calling to the faraway towns. 300 miles from home for the 3,000 travelling Newcastle fans tonight. But it will feel worth it if the scoreline remains the same. Hope you got a chance to see our pre-match airing of the Pathé newsreel of the last FA Cup, the only previous FA Cup tie between these two here at the Cottage back in 1956. 9 goals. Bobby Robson, Jackie Milburn. I saw Jimmy Hill in the shot. Newcastle have actually won all 4 of their FA Cup encounters with Fulham. Leading here through Sean Longstaff's 39th minute goal. You know, the first was a semi-final at Anfield in 1908 when the coin had to be tossed 4 times because it kept landing at an angle on the muddy pitch. I'm only reporting what I've read. I wasn't there. It's a perfect pitch tonight. The FA Cup, it's seen it all. Tete. Reed. Put up by Guimaraes. Dealt with by Bird. Isak can't make contact. More of the same from Fulham, I guess, is the message, Lee Dixon.
Yeah, just at the pointed end, they just need to get more men in front of the goal. And that's when crosses are coming in, when balls getting flicked down and defenders are under pressure. Just right in front of the sticks, there's just not enough players, not enough white shirts.
De Cordova-Reid benefiting from another terrific diagonal from Ream. He's going to get another opportunity and Fulham are going to get a corner. The attendance for that semi-final back in 1908 was 45,000 and the receipts were £1,700. Well, there'll be 25 pence each. And don't slip on the mud. 2024. Fulham trying to equalise. Headed away comfortably by Guimaraes. Robinson. De Cordova-Reid. And Fulham just regrouping really from the corner. Robinson popping up on the right-hand side. Robinson seeking out De Cordova-Reid. It came to him at a fair lick and he did very well. And now he's offside and William's shot is not going to count. Same end of the field. Don't need VAR for that one.
No, he's so unlucky there because he did brilliantly. Overhit ball and then just can't quite get back on side. You can see him trying to just hold his little run, but unfortunately, what a finish as well.
I think looking at the goal again during the half-time interval, I agree that it's not deliberate handball. It's very unfortunate for Fulham, but it's the different interpretation of the law, particularly across Europe. I'm absolutely certain that in a UEFA competition that would have been penalised.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right, and that's where it's all wrong. It should all be the same everywhere. And when you've got different interpretations of the same law, in fact, you know, it's just so confusing for everybody.
Well, it's been rewritten in the last couple of years. A couple of years ago it wouldn't have stood because the assist for a goal or even a goal scoring opportunity would have been penalised, deliberate or not. Let's not talk laws.
Well, it gives you something to talk about, doesn't it, at the end of the day?
Botman. Miley. Handball law's been changed 5 times in Lewis Miley's lifetime. Reed. Pereira. Here's Robinson. Willian was waiting. Longstaff came between them just as well. Fulham have got a problem with Lukic at the moment, who's down and in need of some treatment.
Really good position from Reed, just in between the lines again. Just enables players further up the pitch to make runs. If you can get in that little 10 position and get the ball and you turn, you can then pass the ball down into the channels, into the box in dangerous areas, and Reed's just starting to pick up a few little positions that Wilson was picking up in the first half.
This will be a personal blow for Lukic on a night when he's been given a rare chance by Marco Silva. It's a highly prized asset when he made the move. More than 6 years in Serie A with Torino, a lot of international experience with Serbia. I think he was expected to figure a lot more than he has done. Self-inflicted.
Yeah, he's just got a stud into his knee. We've all had them. That's not a game ender, that's just a bit of Vaseline. In the good old days.
Speak for yourself, yeah. I'd be wanting blue lights outside the stadium and a night in hospital with one of those. It's worth remembering that these two met in the Championship just 7 years ago. Fulham's last win over Newcastle was in the second tier in 2017. That fourth place finish last season was Newcastle's first in the top half of the Premier League for going on a decade. No need to remind any of you how long it's been since their last major trophy, but reaching the Carabao Cup final last year just raised expectations. Champions League football, proper financial muscle, but upward curves in football are rarely smooth or linear. It's the hope that kills you. And Newcastle's hopes have been significantly raised in the last 12 months. An FA Cup run would be very well timed at this stage in their development. 10 men for now for Fulham. This will come for Tete, dummied by De Cordova-Reid. Trying to pull it back to Muniz, but Cher was so much more alert to the possibility.
Well, if you look at Tete's position, brilliant over, as you said. Tete's position on that far side, he looked up, not one person in the 6-yard box with a white shirt on, and he's got to kind of wait then, and the defender can just close him down. So again, just got to get people in front of that goal.
The referee just wants Lukic off the hard shoulder there. Oh, he's going to get injured again.
There's the Vaseline on his knee, I told you.
He's limping back. A false start to this second half, one way and another. Tete's given Newcastle problems down that flank.
Nuts.
Corner kick results, more importantly. Really important header by Dan Burn. Tete's onside. It's another good cross and a really important header by Cher this time. Robinson keeping it alive. Diop on his way home. Couldn't control it. Gordon looking to get Murphy away. Green to Willian. Robinson to Pereira. And spreading play well again. Instant control from Tete. Deeper towards Willian, too deep.
Well, he's spotted Willian at the far post, but just overhit it. But again, trying to get men in the box. Tete's crossing at times. He's been a bit wayward, but he's getting in positions. He's hit a couple of beauties in.
The Dutch international who was seen cycling home from a game at Chelsea a couple of weeks ago on a pay-as-you-go Lime bike. He had been substituted earlier in the match, but...
What, he left before the end?
No, after the match. But as a keen cyclist yourself, Lee, and as somebody who's always trying to save the planet, that was quite something from a professional footballer to grab a pay-as-you-go bike and find his way home. Must have lived fairly close to Stamford Bridge, I guess.
I'm not so sure his manager would have been too pleased. Did he have his helmet on?
It's a warm-down. Here's Murphy. A little bit rusty. Lukic seems okay. Here's Tete on his back again. Fulham continue to ask questions. It's not good from Robinson. Away by Cher, but only as far as Pereira. Lukic squeezed into De Cordova-Reid. Harrison Reid. Tete at his shoulder. Kenny Tete. Oh, handball appeals again. Once more, he didn't travel very far. Just hit Dan Burn.
Dan Burn was very close. It did hit him. His arm's by his side. He's not going to get that. And so might have even hit his midriff on the way up to his arm, but not a handball.
Long stop. On to Isak. Just haven't knitted their game together tonight. Newcastle with any consistency, but they lead. Oh. You need a motorbike for that one. 500cc wouldn't do that.
He's quick, but yeah, Newcastle have been terrible tonight. They've been really disjointed. I think I've counted 3 passes there. Biggest pass, consecutive passes. It's just not been good enough. They just look leggy.
Lukic. Diop. Tete again.
Eddie Howe's on about how long time they've had off and done some really good work on the training ground, but we're not really seeing it tonight.
Well, we'll be discussing the winter break on the show before kick-off. This is Fulham's 6th game since New Year's Eve. Newcastle have had that fortnight off. Seems to be working against them at the moment. Muniz, much change Fulham side, you have to say, from Wednesday. Murphy. But this is a counter-attack with some threat. Isak. Going it alone and forcing a save from Rodak.
Yeah, he's always going to try and get it on his right foot and get his shot away. I'm not sure if it took a little flick off the defender because he seemed to... Yeah, it kind of came through the legs. It came to have a little flap at it, but it suggests it moved a bit in the air.
Ream up to Muniz. Willian. Working that right flank again. Tete. De Cordova-Reid. And here's Harrison Reid. In towards Muniz. Cut out well, though. Sven Botman to the rescue. And almost freeing Anthony Gordon. But Fulham will come again and again. Robinson doesn't need an invitation to get forward. Willian. Robinson with a crossing opportunity. Reid. Tete. Well, it was a last resort, really.
Yeah, he didn't really want it at that angle, but a good move just before that. And Fulham are really trying everything to get back in this game, but the most important thing, the centre-forward position. He's done well, Muniz. He's held up the ball well, but just when you need him, he just lacks that ability to get on the end of things.
They did get 11 clear days before last Wednesday's game, but the semi-final denied them a true break. Arsenal have played twice in January. Cup runs mean less downtime. It's not a dire problem. It was ever thus. Murphy, Longstaff. Ream in the way, corner kick to Newcastle in front of their travelling hordes.
Yeah, rare attack. Again, it's Longstaff making that long busting run from deep midfield to the byline.
Trippier to deliver. Towards Botman, it's there! It's in! It's Dan Burn! The Fulham all-boy strikes. Doubles the advantage. And Newcastle United have 1 foot in the 5th round.
Well, it's going to be given. There's no offside. Dan Burn had a little look over his shoulder at the linesman. Shea gets... Botman gets the header, or Shea? But the actual save, defenders, as soon as you see a header going, turn around, help your goalkeeper out. First to move is a green shirt, Dan Burn. Easiest tapping he'll ever get.
Well, he scored 2 goals for them, and now he scored 2 against them. He bundled in the 3rd in the 3-0 win at St James's last month against Fulham.
You've just got to expect the goalkeeper to fumble it there. It's down on the ground. It's a difficult save to make. It just bobbles out. And there's 3-4 white shirts just looking at Dan Burn's number as he slips it into the net.
And the faithful turns traitor. I think he was probably always a Newcastle faithful, wasn't he? I guess he's found his way back to where he belongs. And every goal he scores for his beloved boyhood club means a little bit more to him. And that means a 2-goal lead for Newcastle. 1 or 2 might be scratching their heads as to exactly how. Well, they've taken pretty much the only 2 opportunities they've had tonight. Well, Murphy had an early one, in fairness.
I do feel if the ball's coming into the box from a corner, there's half a chance that one of the Newcastle giants will get a head on it. That means it's going goalward. That means you've got to protect your goalkeeper. You've got to be around your goalkeeper for bits and pieces. And Fulham just went asleep. They were looking at the header, the first header. It's not the first one that normally scores. There's that little knockdown. And Dan Burn was just there. Couldn't believe his luck.
His 2nd goal in this competition. His first FA Cup goal was for Wigan Athletic 6 years ago. But he scored against Paris Saint-Germain in October. He scored against Leicester, you may remember, in the League Cup quarter-final last season. Big goal. And to score in front of the travelling Newcastle fans made that extra special for Dan Burn. Harrison Reed's cross. Header away by Botman. Lukic. Willian. Tete. And it was a rather aimless cross, a hopeful cross at best from Kenny Tete.
Yeah, they've got to regroup now. Fulham, because this could run away with them.
Fulham substitution.
They've just not been in at Newcastle, but they've took the chances. They've been in the right place at the right time, and Fulham, as much as the play they've had, are really struggling to get a grip of this game at the pointed end of the pitch.
Tom Kenny will replace Andreas Pereira. He turned 33 last week, but his career's been reinvigorated in the last couple of months. He's become a regular again. His 8th season as captain of this club. And they need him to inspire a dramatic comeback here now. Still plenty of time. And they had plenty of momentum at the start of this second half. But can they come yet again? Longstaff in the first half, Byrne in the second. And Newcastle United have won on their last 3 visits to Craven Cottage, are winning again. What they haven't won in recent times is many FA Cup ties. It's their first time in round 4 for 4 years. Byrne back in familiar territory.
Got to be about 5 metres past Byrne before you get past him, haven't you? With those legs.
He's certainly got a long reach. Diop. Ream. Muniz has held it up well. Reed. Tete. De Cordova Reed. It's another tempting cross. Muniz is there, but so too is Trippier. Robinson. He is naturally left-footed.
You've literally got no chance of beating this Newcastle back line if you lift a ball in the air like that. They've just got giants everywhere. It's got to come in with pace, it's got to be behind them, it's got to be in those little gaps in between the back line and the goalkeeper.
Miley. Gordon is the most likely Newcastle player rather than Isak, but Tete is favourite. He looks a bit weary, Kenny Tete.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? He's in a good game, you have to say. He spent most of the time sprinting 60 yards in order to get into crossing positions. It looks, as you said, he looks a little bit tired now.
Newcastle have only been past this stage once in 17 seasons. Extraordinary, really, isn't it? They were quarter-finalists in 2020. That was during COVID, and so the Newcastle fans haven't seen a cup run since the 2006 campaign to the last day. Haven't been to Wembley in this competition since the year 2000. League Cup finalists last year. Guimaraes. Miley. On to Gordon. 3 in support here. Trippier's up with them. Anthony Gordon. Oh, shot across.
No, it's definitely a cross. And he's done Tete, squares him up. As soon as you get square as a full-back, you've got no chance, especially with pace running at you. And he's tried to just lift it far post, put a bit too much on it.
Over the head of Kieran Trippier, who'd made a lot of ground up. Raul Jimenez is on the way for Fulham. Willian lifted into Muniz. Kenny. Willian. And just flicked rather hopefully into the penalty area, and Guimaraes has freed Gordon, and he's got Isak with him. Gordon's going to go it alone. Anthony Gordon, sliding challenge by Diop, gets the job done at the expense of a corner.
He showed him down the outside and said, go on then. I've got a long stretch, and there it is.
It's coming up the anniversary of his signing, Anthony Gordon. He couldn't get involved in the League Cup run last season because he was cup-tied. In fact, he was a substitute for much of that first spell with Newcastle, but he's really impressed this season. Just missed one game. 23 until next month. And another set piece for Fulham to defend. Done a better job of it this time, Tete. Gordon driven in towards Murphy, header away by Reed, and now Kenny can bring Fulham forward. We're going to 3 changes going to be made by Fulham, and 3 of their front liners are coming on. Toss in Adarabayo, Joao Palhinha and Raul Jimenez.
Fulham substitution coming off number 31, Issa Diop. And coming
Reed.
on number 4, Tosin.
And one other to come off.
14,
It's going to be De Cordova-Reid, the third to leave us.
And coming on number 7, Raul Jimenez. Coming off number 6,
That was always a gamble when you make so many changes.
And coming on number 26,
They do have a Premier League game here against Everton on Tuesday. Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday. Clearly, Marco Silva felt he had to turn to the depth of his squad. And in performance terms, they've got a lot of the way to running this game, but they haven't had the cutting edge that Newcastle have found on their counters. Lukic, though, with a cross. Away by Trippier. Miley. Gordon again. Miley once more. And Newcastle have a measure of control now, virtually for the first time all night, I think.
Yeah. Fulham, as I said, the total game's been a lot better than Newcastle's. Newcastle have been poor, but they've got the goals, and until you fill that space in front of the goals, you're not going to score that many, and that's obvious where Fulham's problem is.
Willian with some defending to do. Lukic winning the free kick from Sean Longstaff. Admitted this week it's been strange to go from being a wealthy buying club to a possible selling club during this window. An unsettling dynamic, in his words. They haven't really settled into this game in performance terms. But they're a long way along the road to winning it now.
Well, the form they've been in, they take anything. It just might just click together. You play not that great away from home, we'll come away with a 2-0 victory and go into the next round if it stays this way.
Robbins. Willian. Jimenez waiting, but going to be a better cross than that to lift it over Byrne. Tete. Tossing. Green. Joao Palhinha. Bird too strong for Jimenez. It's a little overconfident. Miley just never looks out of place. It's an extraordinary find, really. He was born in 2006. Never saw Lee Dixon play. One of his great regrets, apparently.
I've sent him some videos.
Newcastle United substitution coming off number 23, Jacob Murphy.
Well, Jacob Murphy's return has maybe been a little mixed personally. He had a big chance early on, but he'll be delighted to get back and get through 75 minutes. And now gives way to Tino Livramento, who wasn't available for the last game because of illness. Just on the fitness front, one or two eyebrows raised when Newcastle arrived without either Miguel Almiron or Jamal Lascelles in the squad, but Eddie Howe assures me that Almiron is ill and Lascelles has a minor calf strain. Both of them have been talked about in amidst all the transfer speculation of the last week or so.
He might be selling him and he's ill. I don't know. Both might be true.
I don't think so. It's not the message I was getting anyway. All these restrictions of FFP and profit and sustainability regulations are very much the talk of football at the moment, and Newcastle's hands just being tied a little by those strictures. Kenny. Ream. He's made an impressive return tonight. Robinson. And Newcastle working hard to defend their lead. Looks like Livramento will play from the left and Gordon from the right. Tossing. Tete. Jimenez! Well, there was a little look over his shoulder there by Sven Botman at Martin Dubravka, as if he was expecting the keeper to come.
Well, you'd expect him to head it, and why didn't he? Jimenez comes over the top of him, whether he got a shout. It looked like he'd heard something from the keeper, and that's why he didn't jump, but Jimenez took the opportunity to get above him. And that's not far off. Good little flick ball in there from Tete.
Livramento dispossessed by Tete.
It's absolutely what the game needs is a Fulham goal. Just to liven it up a little bit.
Willian looking for Jimenez. Burns sliding in once more. Sharp ball from Willian, well controlled by Tete. Tim Ream. Tete, always available. On Jimenez, missed out, hit by Robinson, side netting. Well, Jimenez wasn't expecting Botman to miss his header.
No, again, you've got to expect the unexpected as a striker. Fulham's problem, and he just jumps in front of him. Jimenez has just got to expect him to miss that. See the flight of the ball. There was a little bit of dip on it, to be fair. In the end, Robinson just slicing it wide, but knocking on the door, Fulham.
12 minutes plus stoppage time. Burn. Longstaff. Livramento. He's burst forward here, Tino Livramento. Anthony Gordon's up with him. Robinson's back there. It's a rather cheap corner. A bit more time than he realised.
Yeah, he thought someone was coming behind him, but it was absolutely terrible clearance in the end. But hopefully it won't be costly.
Well, it's a Newcastle corner, and that's been a headache for Fulham all night.
Dan Burn is an absolute one-off, isn't he, left back? I mean, he's just no other full-backs in world football with a body like that.
Tallest in captivity. Trippier works the near post, having had the three giants come forward to the far post. Lukic brings it away. Clean challenge. And Livramento it was who tracked back.
I can guarantee one or all of those centre-backs will be having a word with Trippier for that one.
It was a big challenge by Livramento, and I suppose he got the ball with his trailing feet, didn't he, rather than the lead one. I'm not sure he got any of the ball, actually.
No, I think it was just the lunge that VAR were having taken a little look at that. Nothing in it.
Should have been a foul. Here is Kieran Trippier, who was the subject of some bids from Bayern Munich last week, which was an interesting one for Newcastle. He's 33 years of age. They'd have got their money back. They've had such good service from him, but I just feel he's such an important player around the club, such an important man around the club. Green doesn't look as if he's been away. Robinson. Ken tossed up in the air down that flank where Dan Burn completely rules. Kenny. William. Lukic. Trippier defends his flank. Sharon Guimaraes sorted out. Gordon. Guimaraes. Nicely worked. Isak. Miley again. Livramento. Burns striding forward. Miley. I think you can go back now, Dan.
It's a long walk for him. He's got to go back, he's got to take the throw in.
No, not going back quite as quickly as he came forward. Jimenez. Dispossessed by Livramento. Miley. Just makes the right decision over and over again, Lewis Miley. There's a maturity about his play which is very eye-catching. Next May. He's 6'2". He can look after himself in men's football. He took a big hit from Luke O'Nien in the third round. Just picked himself up, got on with it. And Newcastle United are going to be serenaded through these closing 10 minutes or so. Palinia. Tete. He's on a corner. Get your shirt off, Al. Come on, join the spirit. That's great to see. Right in the midst of the Newcastle travelling support. Alan Shearer. Willian with the corner.
Do you think when he just spotted him? It took him a while. Mind you, he did have a hand.
Tete. Still Fulham come forward. Willian. Tete. He scuffed that one a little. Robinson, though. Jimenez. Willian. The tossing was forward, but he's not that tall. Two goals, one just before half-time from the left foot of Sean Longstaff. And the second from the left foot of Dan Burn in this second half.
Kieran Trippier's just got a little rest down there. Looks like he's taking a knock.
We've got more live FA Cup football for you on ITV tomorrow. One of the most fractious derbies in English football, West Brom versus Wolves. We're on there at 11 o'clock. And Anfield's going to be somewhere special tomorrow. Liverpool versus Norwich City is the tie, but so much else to see about that occasion on ITV1 and STV tomorrow. And we've got football tonight on ITV4 and ITVX. All the highlights from the day's English Football League action from 9:20.
Number 2, Kieran Trippier.
Kieran Trippier is going to come off. We're going to see Emil Kraft on at right back for Newcastle. They are at Villa Park against Aston Villa on Tuesday, so Eddie Howe will start to think about that. Tossin's header. He's a prospect too, Tossin. He's in the final months of his contract here at Fulham. Interesting to see if they can resist any interest in him in the next few days. Really impressed this season, Tossin Darabayo. Jimenez. Longstaff rides the challenge and wins the free kick. He scored here last season, Sean Longstaff. Dan Burn scored against Fulham last month, and they've scored again tonight. Set to join Luton, Brighton, Manchester City, Bournemouth, Leicester City and Maidstone United in the 5th round. Guimaraes stuck on it. And every contribution from a Newcastle player is now being recognised and celebrated by their loyal supporters. Not sure they'll have enjoyed this victory quite as much as the 3rd round for obvious reasons. Well, they're starting to use the W word in their songs now. Shep. Isak just slipped, but that's the way it's going for Newcastle at the moment. Fell for Miley. Really good pass to Livramento. Guimaraes. managing the game well now. Miley. First pass he hasn't connected with for a while. And Bird wins it back. There's a familiarity about the Newcastle selection now. It's been forced upon Eddie Howe in many ways. Isak. Livramento. Isak. Miley. No foul. And Newcastle won it back. And Isak. Halted by Tete. But the lack of options because of those injuries, and there are still a lot of injuries. Pope and Joe Linton, Wilson and Barnes. Now Almiron under the weather. Means that there are relationships now within this team that are pretty well established and forged. A little bit of rest that they've had in the last couple of weeks. It's just given them what they need to re-energise and find a way past Fulham. Willian. Guimaraes hasn't been yellow carded tonight. Lukic. Robinson. Just hasn't been the final ball or the final shot to trouble Newcastle. And Gordon can motor forward again. He's got Isak up with him. Guimaraes is there too. Here is Bruno Guimaraes. Halted by Tosin. The Longstaff mishit. Into these 6 minutes added on. Lead time for you to name your Emirates player of the game.
Well, it's been a strange one because that man just heading it out wins it for me in the end. Dan Burn, just for his goal. Obviously goals change games, but his consistency, he's not put a foot wrong in possession. He's been in that left back position. I'm a big fan of his anyway. Some notable mentions, I think Wilson in the first half played very well but then went off, and so I'm going to give it Dan Burn.
Emirates player of the game, the scorer of the second Newcastle goal, Dan Burn, former Fulham player. Gordon. Guimaraes dispossessed. Here's Kearney. Willian. Palinia. Just seem to have been playing in front of Newcastle for the last 15 minutes or so, Fulham. That second goal really did all but settle the game. Jimenez. It's not too far wide, and Dubravka got a late look at it, but I think the situation was always under control. It has been a strange one, Lee, and I'm very conscious that we haven't been especially fulsome in our praise for Newcastle United. They've managed the game very well in the last 10-15 minutes, but it has been a struggle for them tonight, hasn't it?
No, it has. They've been terrible in the first half. I have to say, in possession, kept giving it away. Second half a little bit better. The goals help. It settles you down. You don't need to force a game. And they've done that. They've managed the game really well in the second half. But, you know, not firing on all cylinders, you have to say. And after 2 weeks of training, you just think they'd be a little bit sharper, a little bit clearer in their vision of how the game's been played. But they've just been a little bit sloppy, you have to say.
Matt Ritchie for Anthony Gordon for these closing moments. A rueful Marco Silva watches on. A week ago, so much promise about the remainder of Fulham's season. Now he really has got some work to do.
Well, what difference a week makes, eh?
It's that time of the year. You can go out and have a couple of competitions in a few days, as Fulham are set to do. Guimaraes, Livramento, and Kizak had gone a little too early anyway. Tossing his forward here. He's done really well. Kenny! Well, that's as clear a chance as either side have had tonight. And Tom Kenny was well wide.
Well, you expect with that quality that we know he's got. He just opens his little hip out on the left-hand side just to slide it into that side netting, gets too much on it. And he'll be very, very disappointed with that. It's a big chance for him.
It probably would have been too little too late, but Fulham have got to find a way to score some goals.
Well, they played well enough to win a game, but they just haven't got that in front of goal presence at all.
6 in 10. And Newcastle, who came into this match on a bit of a down, and they're going to come out of it with a real boost to their momentum and morale. That's not quite the final whistle. The cup that cheers. Newcastle United needed a bit of cheering up, but the win on Weir's side is followed by another beside the Thames, and Newcastle are in the last 16 of the FA Cup for only the second time in 18 years. It's in black and white. The clouds that have gathered above them these last 2 months may yet have a silver lining. It's due, overdue. But Fulham go out of 2 cup competitions in 3 nights. A tough week to take. But the long journey home from Fulham will be a happy one for Newcastle. It will not be a quiet one. Newcastle United is a name you'll hear in the 5th round draw on ITV tomorrow. Winners here at Craven Cottage tonight by 2 goals to 0.